All right, sweet. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being part of today's session. Today's session is called Robotics Software Introduction, Unit 3 and 4. And it's a continuous session from yesterday. I hope everyone will enjoy today's session. Please note that your microphone should be muted just to avoid disturbing the presenter as well as your cameras. If you do have any questions during the session, please feel free to raise your hand. Or if you do have pending questions that you feel like you might forget, just hold them there on the chat box. Otherwise, thank you so much for being. And for those that are watching the recording, thank you as well. Over to you, Dr. Rose.
Awesome. So good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, Tamela. Thank you, Casper. And Anzani's coming back. She's just gone off again. But yes, I've had now some feedback. I hear some of you have gone to go and discover Spike Prime sets and Spike Essentials, and you found the lesson plan. So if I've inspired, then if you're inspired, then that's awesome. So we're going to carry on the conversation, but what we're going to do now, I'm going to do a presentation about programming the robots and everything that you can do about it. I'm also very aware, much like yesterday's session, do you remember when we said we're going to build with Bricklink Studio, that we might need some extra kind of tutorial sessions kind of just to get you up and running. And I think for today's session as well, there might be some more hands-on tutorial sessions, especially for the virtual stuff, but maybe for the practicals as well. So we're going to try and do practical sessions in the UNISA regional offices, and so hopefully we'll get to meet some of you as well as we go along. All right. So let me start the presentation. I'm hoping that somebody's in the lobby and watching out for us. And then I'm going to start the presentation. I'm going to leave you that you can see. I talk with my hands, so maybe it's good that I keep you focused. So I'm going to say, somebody is mind the lobby. There we go. And then I'm going to share my screen. And then I need somebody just to say, you can see my screen. I'm just going to do that quickly. There we go. All right. There you go. And anytime now, the presentation is going to pop up. There we go.
And I can see the screen, Dr. House.
Excellent. There we go. Okay. All right. So welcome. It's always awesome to have a day one, a huge number of participants, but it is even more inspiring when you come back to the sessions and you have lots to share with us. And so I'm going to do a short presentation on programming, and then hopefully we can have lots of time to share some ideas, because the programming will then link directly to what you've been investigating and busy with. I'm hoping somebody did some homework. All right. I had a video I was going to show, but I think let's go through this first, and then we'll come back to the video in the next session. All right. So you've had time now to think. We did an introduction just globally to robotics, and then we started building some robots more virtually than physically, but we'll do that in M1. And so now it is about programming, and programming, it's kind of learning programming and then learning to program the robots. And from my side, I lecture first and second year computer programming in the Python space. And so what I want you to remember is that you are preparing your learners to come to UNISA to study programming. And if you see it like that, but also to know that the programming itself is very abstract. And so if you, as a competent and confident teacher, can inspire a love for programming, that'll be amazing. All right. So programming itself, just programming, and everybody says, oh, I can't do programming. But maybe that's a problem in this country, and that is why very few schools actually offer programming, whether it is I think they do IT or ICT or CAT or something like that. But anything computer related, like, oh, no. And what I really want to encourage you to do is to think about how easy can you introduce programming. All right. So in essence, programming is about problem solving. And so we can kick it right back to little, there's always a drama part. You can always do drama. You can act it out. What is your problem and how are you going to solve it? And that is the programming. Those steps in your little drama are the programming steps. All right. Then there's about the programming principles. there are only 3 ways you can program. You can either program linearly, so you do this, and then this, and then this, or in a loop, you do this, and then you do it again, this, and then you do it again, this, and this, or you do a decision making. So you go forward, and if you come to a red line, you go this way, and a blue line, you go back. So there's decision making, and then you string it all together, and you've got these computer systems, which is what programming, that's the very basis of it. So it is a language. Programming is a language. The principles are not the language. The principles are generic principles, much like you have nouns and verbs and pronouns in any language. Programming itself is a language, and you've got to learn a language. So you can speak, you can add it to your CV. I can speak Python, and I can speak Scratch, and here we go. But program is abstract, and what we're trying to do, what I'm trying to encourage you to do, is to make programming less abstract, so more concrete. And you'll see when we introduce Scratch to our learners, we make it storytelling, because that's concrete. They can tell a story, okay? And then with the very basic icons that we have, that's concrete. So you want the robot to move, you put a move icon down, and then it moves. And so you work, so we go icon based, then we go kind of the Scratch based. It's not quite icons, but it's a little bit more colorful, but not quite text. And then we go to Python, and voila. All right. So what you're doing, what programming is you're actually doing, is you're giving a command to a machine and to make something happen. All right. So you make a robot move, you make a robot lift, you make a robot with the arm lift, you make the attachments move. Whatever you're doing, that is programming. And that's what we're going to kind of explore today. Okay. So there are many ways to introduce programming, and I am always of the opinion, just start. At least just start. I'm going to do, I've got a meeting tomorrow afternoon with, if you want to do Unplugged with 6 Bricks, and you're welcome to send me an email and say, I'd like to join the 6 Bricks demo. You're more than welcome to send me an email. But it really must be a fun way, and you want to encourage the learners to discover. So I just think having Scratch on all the computers in your computer lab, it's just like a fun way of doing it. Everybody can tell their own story and can program their little sprites to move over the screen, but it's so that learners can learn. We don't want, I never want programming to be I know it's got to be in a curriculum in assess, but it's got to be the fun thing. All right. And there are options. What I'm going to explore today with you is there are options to learn to program with a robot or without a robot, but whatever you do, just start. Just start. All right. So keep in mind that programming is, we're trying to move the learners from the concrete to the abstract. We are going to move them from the visual, the icon-based, to the text-based. We're going to just keep moving, and we're going to encourage learning. The cool thing is, once your learners are hooked on the love of learning, especially of programming, they will just want more and want more. And you as a coach will not, as an educator, might not know all the answers. That's fine. That is really fine. You just need to be able to guide or coach your learners. You're mentoring them and developing their 4th Industrial Revolution skills and their 21st century skills. You are mentoring them in that. Okay. So programming language, if you Google programming languages, there's actually a continuum. There's a whole plethora of programming languages, and so they try to categorize it. And this is what I did from the Google search quickly. So there are a lot of programming languages. I get that. And I'll tell you, in first year, when you are faced with a very abstract text-based programming language, it is very daunting. So what I want to encourage you as the educators is to go right to the beginning and say, let's do Scratch Junior. Let's do Scratch. Okay, that's just storytelling. Then we'll introduce maybe icon-based programming. We'll do a little bit of Scratch programming, and we'll keep the learners moving so that they all program. So just FYI, your grade 1s that you've got now are our 2034. The South African 2024 matric class is sitting in grade 1 now. And how cool will it be if we can equip those learners with 4IR skills? All right. Okay, so I've got different levels of programming, and I get it that it's a bit confusing, but so I've kind of laid it out. So the Unplugged, I've highlighted. We can do Unplugged with 6 Bricks, and I'm very aware of the Tanks initiative. It is good to start somewhere. All right. And if that's where you can start, go for it. All right. But you have to keep moving. You have to keep the learn. You cannot stay unplugged forever. But the Unplugged awesome way to start. The programming principles, excellent way to start. Okay. Then the grade 1, 2, and 3 learners have got Scratch Junior and Scratch. I would start with Scratch Junior and then make a big song and dance about it and say we'll move on to Scratch. If you've got robotics kits, the We Do robot is that little hub or little brain, and then we program with We Do icons, or we have a Spike Essentials kit and we program that with Scratch. Okay, and then from grade 4 upwards, we want to get to Python, but we can either use the EB3 icons or we can use the Scratch programming, whichever way we do it. Yeah, whichever way we do it, it's fine. Okay. All right. So there we've got the unplugged. We've got grades 1, 2, and 3. We're doing Scratch. Grade 4 upwards, we're doing Python. But with the robotics kits, we've got the icons. We've got the Scratch options for both ages. All right. Okay. So let's see what are the alternatives for our robotics kits. Okay. So the first one is, if you have a physical robot, you've got an EB3 kit or you've got a Spike Prime kit, you can go and download free software. Okay, you can either do EB3 Classroom or you can use EB3 Lab, which is the previous version, or the Spike Prime. And I know that Alberto said he was going to look around in the Spike Prime lesson plans and downloadable lesson plans. It's all there, and it's free. Okay. What we did yesterday was the Lego Digital Designer with the Bricklink Studio. That software is free for downloading. What I'm going to present now is having different simulations for the learning of programming, and I'm going to introduce GEARSBOT, which is also free, and Virtual Robotics Toolkit, which has a free trial period, and the license is not that hectic, but I'll explain that to you now. All right. So let's start at the very beginning. All right, so Scratch Junior is really cute. And the sprite is the little person that goes all over the place, and I'm very impressed that it's a little cat. But so you can tell a little story, and it's fun. And every learner, and I would prefer 2 learners working 2 by 2 at a computer or a screen. I don't think this should be a solo. I think we need to encourage teamwork. All right, so it's just a storytelling thing, and you can develop it, and you can see over here, there's the code that you can put in there. And the kids read the code. Again, that structure, I don't know if you can see, it's a bit small, but that structure means a repetition. So they learn the principles in a storytelling way, and they can tell any story. All right, and everybody's on their screen. So then we move, and this is Scratch Junior. The code there's all the little blocks. So it's all drag and drop, ding, 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 ding. And then when you go, you press the little green arrow, and then it goes off like that. Okay, so that is the fun part of it, and it's a really great way. And I think especially for many of the teachers that have no programming introductions, maybe this is also a comfortable way where you can start with your learners and learn and just keep moving. Yeah. All right. So now we've moved up to Scratch. Again, it's a free download. Again, it's a little story, but you can see the code is becoming a little bit more complicated. All right. And that's where you start pushing the boundaries. There are collections of projects that you can use and add to. So I also want you to kind of develop a culture of let's share. And we spoke about it yesterday afternoon as well, where we kind of develop little hubs. Even if you and the school next door and that school next door, make it a triangle of schools, and then you kind of share ideas or have an exhibit of really cool, or have a Scratch day and you give kids all a challenge to do, but make it fun and see where it goes, and exhibit the stories that they're telling. There's some amazing projects in Scratch. There's no limit to what you can do with that. Okay. All right. So that was the Scratch Junior. That is just on the program. There's no robots involved. All right. So now we're going to come to robots. And so the We Do Robotics set has got this little robot. It's got a kit, and you can build any of these. So you can build Milo, and you can build the motion sensor, and you can build the tilt sensor, and you can build windmills and everything. But the cool thing is there are projects as well. So you click on the project, it gives you a whole plethora of things around the theme, and then you can build this little robot. But what we also want to do is to encourage the learners to build their own robots. Okay. This is what the coding looks like for We Do. It's also a drag and drop, and it's got little parameters at the bottom here. And yeah, you've got to start somewhere. Okay, and it makes little Milo move. It's got a little brain, and obviously you've got to keep the batteries charged, otherwise the robot's not going to move. But here's a fun way of getting a little robot to move, and that you can make the windmill move, you can make the doors open and close, and there's lots and lots and lots of resources available. And if you need more, just shout. All right. So then the WeDo kit has been upgraded to a Spike Essentials robot. Not saying that we're throwing away the WeDos, because if you want to throw them away, bring them here. I've got a whole waiting list of schools that would love to be encouraged and empowered to do robotics. Okay. So Spike Essential robots are a little bit larger. And again, the programming is now looks very much like Scratch. Okay, so this is the Scratchy program. I kind of think that they are the basic colors and these are the softer colors or whatever, but you can definitely see a difference. All right, so there's your grade 1, 2, and 3. So all your grades 1, 2, and 3 must be building little things that can move and can be programmed to move. And so you've got the kids with a love for learning programming. Okay, and if you don't know the answers, then reach out to your little hub of excellence. Please don't ever go solo. If you don't have anybody that can work with you, please let us know. I am sure we'll find at least one other person in your community. All right. Okay, so that's grades 1, 2, and 3. So you can imagine if they come to grade 4 and we say, we're going to build robots, like, yay, we're going to build robots. So they are all prepared. They've got the programming principles. They know how to program. Here we go. All right. So from grade 4 to grade 10, I'm going to present 4 options. Okay. So the EV3 robotics kit, this is kind of the kit that I use to build this robot. You can either program it in the EV3 lab, which is very much drag and drop icons. But that now we've got, again, the same kit, but we can program it in Classroom or Scratch. Then we've got the Spike Prime robotics kit, which we program in Scratch. The 4th option I want to introduce to you, and I won't give much detail, but you can also program, you can actually use the Spike Prime robotics kit to teach Python. Just a fun way of doing Python, I think it's just a cool way to do it. Okay, so just bear with me, and you can see how different the coding looks, but the principles are the same. All right, so the EV3 lab version, these are the kind of icons that you have. So there's your loop, and there's forever, and then there's a sensor there, and then it's sensors used, and so it stays. These are drag and drop. This is pictures that I got from the internet. All right. So if you've got the EV3 robot, you can either program like this, or you can do the Scratch. And you can see this is looking like Scratch, but you can also see it's getting a little bit more complicated. Okay, so that will unpack in M1 next week to say you cannot just start programming complex. I really want you to encourage you to program a little piece, test it, see whether it works, then you add another piece, test it, see whether it works, and keep learning. All right, keep learning, keep solving the problems. All right, so if you've got Spike Prime, this is what the coding is. So if you look between that one and that one, the programming looks all scratchy. That is how it is. And so that I just noticed I've got a kit. So those are all your pieces. You build your robot, whatever robot you want, and then you program it to go forwards, go backwards, go left, go right, turn around, or whatever, and sing a song. Okay. All right. So there is some material on the internet, and there are some tutorials on the internet where you use Python, and you can then program it. You can program. So you can see the Python language is very text-based. I think this is much more colorful, but what you can do is then you can program here and then convert it to Python, which is a cool way to start learning Python. Okay. All right. So now we've got, so I just want to also just kind of just stop a moment here. So Python as a language is just used for a whole lot of stuff, but you also have to learn text-based languages somewhere. And I do know they are offering it in the classroom. So on that note, I've got a Python. Oh, that was last year. This is the Python that we kind of get used to start. All right, it's not starting on the 21st of February 2022 because that is in the Okay, but what we are doing, I will share with you as soon as we start Python this year, and I will with introduction to Python, and you're welcome to join those sessions. All right. Now let's just say you don't have a robot, okay, and you want to still learn programming. So I'm going to show you two options. The first one is a really cool thing called GEARSBOT. It's all in development. It looks, the Scratch program looks exactly the same. And if you want to, I'm thinking maybe we should have a little demonstration here. But basically, if you've got, this is your canvas, and again, you drag and drop. You just drag and drop from here. You drag and drop the icons to here. Also looks like Scratch, okay? This is the robot. It doesn't look so cool, but you know what? It's a robot, and it can teach the basics. So this one is a line follow. So it's got a color sensor going down, and it says here what it's got. It's got a left wheel, a right wheel, and an electromagnet, and it's got a color sensor, ultrasonic sensor, gyro, and a GPS. So you can this is not for a beautiful robot. You use the GEARSBOT to teach programming principles, and so you can, it's downloadable, it's free, and you can add it all to your laptops or your computers in your computer lab. Okay, and so here's your little, it's got a canvas, and you can then manipulate this robot to move around, and luckily there's a wall to the table, so it's going to go move all over the place. It's not also boring, because you can see here there's a worlds tab, okay, and so the worlds tab, you can create different pictures of where your robot is. And the cool thing is, there are a whole lot of tutorials. I'm not saying all the tutorials are excellent, but there's definitely a lot of, and I'm happy to start a GEARSBOT little discussion group if you want to. But you can see that the GEARSBOT here is following lines. They have a whole lot of challenges. There's an introduction. These guys are giving some advice on how to use the GEARSBOT. The community is very sharing. But you know what? If this is going to encourage your learners to start programming, even if you give them as a fun activity, there's the ultrasonic sensor where you can measure distance. You know, you go until the wall and you don't crash into the wall. But there's a whole lot of worlds that you can then discover. Okay. So the cool thing about GEARSBOT, there's lots of tutorials. I would always put a team of learners together. Don't let one single child sit at a computer. Never do that. Maybe 2 or 3. 3 is a good number, because they have to learn to work together. But design a robot, program the robot, and then test the robot. So you've got all these worlds that your little robot can play in, which is really cute. You can have a class challenge. All right, you can give them 45 minutes and say we need to I don't know, program the robot to follow the line, yeah. But here's the really cool thing about this GEARSBOT little program. You can program it in Scratch, and then there's another tab, and then you can, let me just see if I can go back, and you can see. So at the top here, there's the Python. So you program in blocks or in Scratch, and then if you click on the Python, you can see your Python programming. So it'll give you the Python version of your Scratch programming. So I don't know, it's just a really cool environment to get your learners up and running in robotics. All right, I put here more discussion sessions, and I'm kind of putting myself out there. If we need a group to say, let's go and investigate a little bit further, you can also send ISET an email and say you're interested in the GEARSBOT discussion group. We can have like a working group on that. Let's hear what you're doing at your schools, and maybe we can have a virtual competition kind of in this environment, which will be really cool. All right. Okay, so that GEARSBOT is the free one. The virtual robotics toolkit, there's a trial version, and it's limited and it's free, but you can also buy a license. It works out at about, well, that depends on the exchange rate. It's $50 per laptop per year. So it works out at about 700 Rand per license. But I think if there are enough of us who want to do it, maybe we can negotiate with these people. But it is definitely, so I don't know whether that comes clearly, but you basically have two. So the top part is where you are building your robot, and the bottom part, this is your canvas where you're programming. What I wanted to show here is that there's a whole lot of, again, worlds that you can play. So there's the World WRO robotics mat. there's a sandbox that you can kind of play in, and then there's one of these challenges, online challenges, an apartment cleanup. Whew, very appropriate for our kids maybe. Just having some fun, but you program it here, and then your robot is the top. So it kind of looks like that. The cool thing is there are resources, so you're not left totally in the dark. There are resources, and there are a lot of extra things as well, where people have actually used the virtual robotics toolkit. It's worthy of investigating, I think, because here you can even play soccer. You can play soccer with your robot. That's so cool. Yeah, so that is another option. Okay, again, you can build different robots. So at the top you build the robot, and the bottom, and it's all about 3D. Again, I just got a whole lot of examples of what you can do. You can play competitions as well. And now I need Casper just to inform me. Casper, can you, if you have a license, can you import your design from Studio into VRT?
Yes, if I remember correctly, yes.
Yeah. So if you want to design a non-standard robot, you can design it in Bricklink Studio, and you can import it into VRT as well. Okay. So, but I'm happy to kind of investigate this further. So here are two options. The one is the free download, and here is a key that I found that you can use if you want to test it out for longer than 45 days. Otherwise, you go to the 45-day trial period. You go there, and then you go and look. And if there's anybody, any communities or any schools that want to think of maybe installing it in their schools, just shout. All right. I'm kind of thinking, do we need to do, there are tutorials. Do we need to have a discussion group or like a support group? That is also an option. All right. And here in virtual robotics, it does say starting from scratch. It's kind of not scratch, but starting from the beginning. All right. So I'm going to just pause a minute here and say that is programming really from a very high level, whether you have robots and you're programming your robots, or whether you're doing virtual robots, or whether you're just doing programming. I'm going to stop sharing now. There we go. All right. And I'm going to say, are there any questions, any comments? Where's everybody? Are we all doing Scratch?
So Dr. Gous, we have a few comments, but first, okay. Albertus, if you want to maybe first go.
So my question is, I saw playing around yesterday that in the Spike program, there was different programming options, and you could actually do some programming in there and upload it to your bot. So what is the difference between that and the Scratch that you're speaking about now?
Okay, so Scratch is just the Scratch language, not linked to any robots. Okay, if you're going to program the robot, then you've got to use the Spike version of Scratch, because that's been adapted to control the motors and the sensors.
Okay, fair enough. So you kind of use both of them at the end of the day.
It looks the same, and what we have found, if we go into a workshop and the kids have already done Scratch, and I say we're going to use what you've learned in Scratch, but we're going to use it that speak to robots. So it's definitely tailor-made for the robot. So it's a Spike version of Scratch.
All right, 100%. That makes sense.
Yes, it's amazing if you have on the tablet, and I did a workshop with a holiday program with kids, and I just showed them, we're going to now make these robots move, and they see it on the tablet, they see Scratch. It's kind of, I can do this, and that's what we want. We want our learners not to be scared of programming. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. All right. Okay, Casper, what else?
All right, so I'm just going to go to the comments quickly. So there was a conversation about the microbit, that it is amazing and it is a interesting software. We even, and there was someone, yes, that said that it is running at the moment in 190 schools at the moment.
Okay, we can add that.
Yeah, so that was I think it's Mr. Lower can Joost can maybe unmute. You can also, because they also asked if they can be added to our WhatsApp groups.
Okay. Okay.
Yes. So
Hi, good afternoon, Doctor. Thank you, everyone. Yeah, I've been experiencing with the MOOCs a bit now. We're running a program part and parcel with the British Council in Edinova with over 190 schools in 6 provinces with the microbit. So it's quite nice and easy, basically. And like Doctor explained also, what you can see your text coding and similar to Scratch is block-based onto MakeCode editor. And in the same time, when you do your coding, as Doctor explained earlier, we can switch over to Python and even JavaScript within the same application. So it's quite nice, and it also manifests on the little small microbit that's in your hand. So kids get quite excited when they see the code that they've written on the computer manifest on the device that they've loaded on. So it's quite amazing. It's quite affordable as well.
Cool. You know, and I'm just of the opinion, let's just start. Let's just get to our learners and just start. Absolutely. Absolutely. Does the microbit come with a whole lot of pieces that you can actually design your robots, or is it just maybe a brain and sensors?
It's almost like a small pocket computer. I normally tell the teachers that it comes off the Raspberry Pi, but it has
okay, so it's just a little bot thingy.
Yeah, it's just a little bot thingy. You can just Google it and then you can see how it looks. But you can buy accessories with it. You can buy server boards. You can make your own thing. So it's quite nice. We're using it now in disadvantaged in school. So to get the creative to displaying where we give them the microbit and we tell them to do projects where they can use wires and all other type of materials that is inexpensive, that we know that our disadvantaged schools doesn't have the money to buy the crocodile leads or the servos. So we tell them use foil, use a piece of wire, use nail that can conduct energy from the microbit. So you write your code on your micro, on the PC or wherever, on the tablet or your phone, store it, send it over to your microbit, and it will obviously manifest all the actions which you put within
So, yes.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you.
I see somebody was trying to add there. All right. Okay. So maybe we should just, yeah, I'm just making a note there. Thank you for that. I will look into that. Thank you.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Cool. Cool. All right. Anybody, any other comments?
Yeah, in church I am.
Yes, Dr. House, there was a few others. So we still continued. Some of the people wanted to know to add to our WhatsApp group. We even have a question here that says, have there been any robotics competition to date under the ISET name? This was from,
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it's coming now. Yes. I've been participating in robotics competitions to 2009, and I've taken 4 teams internationally already. I'm going to show you now. Excellent. Yes.
All
cool.
Right. Okay. And then otherwise, oh yeah, the age appropriateness of Scratch programming.
Oh, okay. So I think as long as you're telling stories to your kids, you can start on Scratch Junior. I know in the curriculum, they have introduced Scratch Junior to the grade R's and Scratch for grades 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, so that is in the curriculum. But I would say, even if you just start telling stories with your learners in grade R and encourage them to tell stories, they're all flicking through your cell phones anyway. So you might as well teach them to program. Okay. Okay, Casa?
Yes, doctor. So, and then actually they'd say, do you advise that we have the correct robot for the schools, or doesn't it matter what robot we use?
Okay, so here is I would say if you have an opportunity to create an environment for learners to start robotics, go for it. And I think there are quite a number of opportunities, but you as the teacher need to to take those opportunities. So I know that there are different kits around. We do have loan kits, but that means that you need to, just to kickstart your robotics, you need to have a plan of how you're going to do it. I think it's really important that you don't go solo, but you have a team in your school and say, this year we're going to do this, or where we're going to start. So if you say we're going to start with grade 1s, 2s, and 3s, and you need some Spike Essential Robotics kits, then send me an email and say we would like to learn some kits, and we can get you started. What we cannot have is where we just hand out robotics kits to everybody and it doesn't get used. So obviously there are T's and C's. So as long as you are creating that opportunity and getting the learners digitally literate, yes, just start. I hope that answers the question. I know there's a whole lot of unplugged opportunities available as well. If you get your hands onto some unplugged programming activities, start with that. Start with that. Right. But if you would like some robotics kits and you would like to learn them, please let me know. Yes. If you are that kind of teacher who wants to get started, get started. Yes. Maybe on a note, we started online in the middle of COVID, and we have had amazing learners despite the COVID, despite all the things. We've had some really cool kids learning robotics, and we've had some really cool competitions, even COVID and all. Yeah. All right. Okay. And okay, I hope that answers that question. Okay, are we done, Casper?
It's only one more. It was just the person, Viana, I just wanted to know about a reference that you just talked about the microbit.
Oh, okay. Okay, so yes, I don't know whether you want people to contact you directly or do you want to send us an email?
Okay,
No,
I
it's
see.
No, it's
good.
still in pilot stage. Okay.
I've just responded. I've said that I would be glad because the program is now in a pilot stage. That hence why it's 190 schools plus within 6 months. I am glad to share whatever knowledge I have, which can enrich the teachers. They can email me personally. That's my email address. I've dropped it down there. So everyone feels free. We can set up something and we can share whatever we have.
Okay, and just to add to you, when we go into the competitions, there's a robotics competitions where microbits can also compete. Okay.
Yes, that would be awesome.
Stick around. Yes. All right. My vision, and I don't think I'm going to have enough time, but my vision is that every learner that leaves matric has built at least one robot. Do you think it's possible? It's just a dream I have. Yeah. I think we need to be an inspired nation that thrives, not just survives. I think we need to move out of this survival mode into thriving mode. All right. Excellent. All right.
And I think the last question for now, Dr. Gys, is from Hendrik that asks, when we ask for the kits, do we borrow on the iSet? Do we send the email to the iSet? Yes. All right.
Yes.
All right.
Yes, that'll be cool. All right. Thank you for all those questions. I'm just wondering, Tumelo, are you still with us?
Yes, I'm still here.
Okay. Have you had any queries about the MOOCs, or can we carry on?
So I've been answering on the email side, so I don't know whether should I give another session today.
I wonder if is there anybody who particularly needs some help or assistance with the MOOCs? Tumelo, I wonder whether you shouldn't share the link for your Friday session.
I've been sharing the link with emails. Okay. That's why I'm saying to you that when it comes to emails, everything is sorted.
There you are.
I've been interacting.
So Tumelo is in our robotics hub at on the UNISA campus.
Yes.
Are you waiting for visitors? I'm bringing you all these virtual visitors.
I've been having visitors today, so it's been quite hectic. So, yeah.
Okay. Awesome. All right.
So, but if we do have any of the participants who have question regarding the MOOCs, please raise your hand or perhaps write on the chat there, and then we can take it from there. Or an alternative is that you send us an email on unisa.ac.za indicating that you'd like some assistance regarding the MOOC portal. And then tomorrow, I know that I have a session with some few individuals at 3:30, so I can also send them a link for that, or they can join us for the Friday session as well.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Are there any
Right,
questions
okay.
now? Okay. Oh,
So far, I don't see any questions.
no.
Yeah, we have. Yeah, it's not one. Someone just said in the chat, thank you very much for answering all the questions so far.
Oh, cool.